simple as possible right now, just to keep things moving. So first thing to understand, by the name, zone, you're not guarding a person, you're not guarding a player, you're guarding an area of the field, a zone in the field. That's what I mean by a zone. Okay, so generally it's set up where you have 4 defenders and 3 midfielders. You're gonna have 2 low defenders, 2 high defenders, and 3 midfielders along the top there, okay? The best way I know how to describe it is if you think of it, a pie, and everything's cut up in slices, okay? This is each player's zone, okay? Come out a little further, but they got that zone, they got this zone, and so forth. And the zone isn't just right out here. The zone is all the way back towards the goal, okay? It's not just in that front area there, up to around the 8 or behind the goal. Does that make sense what the zones are? Okay. The next thing to understand, the zone itself, the players in the zone are not worried about the other team's players so much. They really don't care as much about the players as they do about the location of the ball. Okay, the ball is what gets the players in the zone to move. When you're playing a man-to-man defense, your girl moves, you move with them. In a zone, that's not the same. You move when the ball moves. And what I mean by that is if the ball gets passed out here, okay, the zone is shifting over, okay, and you're always shifting. It's passed over here, they shift a little bit further over. This person takes the top spot. This person comes over here, they come over this way. So you're always shifting with the ball, not your player. A couple other points. Because they're always shifting with the ball, let me give some terminology. If we were to divide this field in half, and we use this in our practice as well, the side the ball is on is the strong side. The side the ball is not on is the weak side. Okay? Because the players are shifting with the ball, the weak side defenders, especially this high defender, is always going to have 2 girls, sometimes more, and that's okay to the zone. They don't care. She'll probably be guarding at least 2 players over here against most teams. We're fine. They're fine with that. They're playing their zone because they're shifting the ball. The next thing to understand is you're always going to have a double team on the ball. Okay, you're always going to have a double team. It can be done in a couple of different ways. It can be done by 2 people side by side. It can be done with what's called a backer. So you have one back here and one up here, and that backer is always following the ball. But you're always going to have 2 people on you if you've got the ball, which makes it very difficult to drive. Okay, it makes it very tough to drive. So not only do you have the double team, you've also got the rest of the zone shifting towards you. So if you manage to get past somebody, you've got more players in the zone collapsing on you. Okay, so driving against the zone is a very tough thing to do, and it's not going to be effective very often. So the basic rules of a zone defense, and these, like I said, are very basic. Number 1, you need maximum intensity. At no point can any player in the zone relax. Okay? You need maximum intensity. You need to communicate, but not be yelling. So you need to be able to have clear communication. You need to be able to hear your goalies talking. So you're not yelling at each other, but you are communicating constantly. If you're not communicating, the zone is going to break down. Even more so than man defense, the zone requires every player working together on the same page. Okay, and if somebody's not communicating, you're not on the same page, and the zone's going to have a real quick breakdown, and they're going to give you easy goals. You have to be, like I said, maximum intensity. You always have to be concentrating and focusing. We're always forcing the ball, just like in our man, you're always forcing the ball to their non-dominant side. And the reason that's important to know, you have to know which way you're forcing them because you have to know who to help you, where that double team is in the zone. So they're always going to force it. Again, some teams will force it different ways. This was some rules that we had. Inside the 12 is when that double team really happens. So out here, you have just one person guarding you. The other person's ready. But as soon as you get inside that 12, boom, they're going to be on you right away, double team. Inside the 8, there's going to be a crash. Okay, just like we do, but it's very specific as to who crashes. It's going to be both low defenders, strong side high defender, the center midfielder, and the strong side midfielder. Those 5 are always gonna crash. Always, 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 when you're inside the 8. All right, moving on, let's do,
Whenever you say crash, do you mean by like,
they collapse on that ball and smother the person with the ball until she's out of the 8.
okay, so it's like not a triple team, but
It's like 5 players coming after the ball with
Quadruple team,
vengeance.
quintuple.
So they're not just
Exactly.
so
Pretty much all of them.
They're coming at the ball and trying to kill that person.
Oh.
It's intense. You want that person out of the 8 no matter what, and they will do whatever it takes to get you out of the 8. Except, next rule, no checking. Most teams, when they're running a good zone, if they're a good team, they're not going to ever check inside the 8 because they don't want to give up a free position shot. And fouls get caught a lot when you're checking. They will not check unless it's a lot of teams won't even do it if it's a perfect opportunity for a check.
I'm sorry, I have another question.
Yeah.
This might get answered later. So you said it's strong side, low person, both
Both low players.
both low players, and then the person where it's like HD or whatever,
High defender,
high defender, and then the middle person.
the strong
those
side
two.
midfielder, and the center midfielder.
So those would crash, and so there's like 2 like hard players
These
that
2
didn't crash.
are watching for cutters from the weak side.
Okay, so they stay over on weak side, like they don't.
Just stay from the weak side, watching the backside of the cutters.
So one thing I want to make clear here,
Yeah.
coach is teaching the double team,
Yeah.
not because I want us to execute the zone, not because I want us to execute the zone defense,
Uh-huh.
but so our attackers can know what to do against it. Now, next year, we will probably have multiple defensive strategies. And so learning this as the defenders is good, but we're not going to ask you in 1 week to start executing this next Saturday.
Right. Okay, so moving on.
I'm sorry to whoever's going to watch this because I'm all over the place. Because I'm drinking coffee, I'm switching hands.
A lot of these are other. One terminology we always use is hold the 9, guard the 9. Okay, you do not want to get called for 3 seconds. If you're standing back here along the 8 and you're just touching the line, you can get called for 3 seconds. So we say hold the 9, just take a step out, guard the 9, move out from the 8. All right, so you're not going to call for 3 seconds.
Why is that?
If I'm standing here on the 8, if I'm just touching that line, I can get called for 3 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So I'm considered in the 8.
So guard the 9 meter.
So we say move out to the 9, now you're not in danger of getting called for 3 seconds.
That's why we got beat. We were guarding the 8.
Must be. All
That
right,
fixes
and then
everything, Ken.
in the zone, the 2 low defenders, we call them the generals. They're the ones that really run the zone, okay? When you're the weak side low defender, you are really watching the 8. You've got to be watching the 8 middling. There's cutters open in there. The high defender on the weak side is going to be guarding cutters as well, and even sometimes the midfielder on the weak side, but especially these 2. And this one here's the one that's got to see everything and be guarding, watching for anybody open in the 8. Okay. Now, how do they guard cutters? This is a common question in zone. So we say that we've got the high defender here. And let's say the ball's over here. Okay. This attacker is going to cut through. She's with her, okay? As she gets halfway, or as she's cutting, she needs to be calling either the high defender or low defender on this side to come pick her up halfway. All right? She is not going to carry her all the way through, stay with her all the way through, because then they just broke their zone. They just lost the shape of their zone. Okay? So what she's going to be doing is calling for somebody, one of these 2, to come pick her up halfway and take her the rest of the way. And she'll then return to her spot in the zone. Okay? So you're coming in, carry, cut her, and then come back out. Okay? Yeah.
So basically, if whoever's in the 8 bobs back and forth,
Yeah.
That's part of it.
You just
That's
go
part
with
of
it.
it. We're going to give you a whole
as soon
list
as
of
you
things
wait
you can
until
do.
you see that the defender leaves, you turn around and come back.
Yeah. Now, sometimes, I mean, again, if it's a well-coached zone, they're calling for somebody and they're not available, they're doubling, they're on ball, something happened, they can't pick up the cutter. You're going to take them through, and then people just have to shift around one way or the other.
But
to
then
fill in.
because they're like the opposite, like the weak side has 2, wouldn't there be an open girl just to cut right back through? Okay, continue, sorry.
No, this is what the Oakland coach told me on Saturday. He goes, we destroyed this. He said, they did this to us for 5 minutes, and he said, we knew what to do, and they stopped it. He said, you can stop a zone defense in 5
So,
minutes
yeah.
if you know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so what
Yeah,
was
there
the
are
first
counters that good zones can run against things, but we're going to teach you some things that can beat this, including that. Question? again, it depends how well the zone is coached. I don't know how well their zone is coached. I think they have a player coach. I don't know how well they know it.
But they were smart.
They were very smart.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They came out and readjusted the draw.
Yep.
We won almost every draw in the first half and lost almost every draw in the second half.
Exactly.
So they made some good adjustments and figured us out.
Yeah, they're a good team. There's a lot of intricacies to the zone, and if you're not familiar with all of them, it can be beaten pretty easily. If you know how to make the adjustments, though, oh, they did that. Okay, let's adjust our zone this way. You can find ways to adjust. That's why we're going to give you multiple ways to beat the zone. Okay. All right. Questions about the zone? There's a lot more I could go into, but I